Southpaws are a pain in the butt. I'm a southpaw, naturally, so I'm a left-handed fighter. The reason why they're a pain is 90% of people are right-handed. So when you go to the gym, you spar, train, and do pad work with people who are right-handed 90% of the time. And then out of the blue, some lefty comes along and changes everything, because what works against the righty doesn't work against the lefty necessarily. You have to modify your footwork, your positioning, your game plan slightly. This is why champions, there's more left-handed champions in combat sports as a percentage than right-handed champions, because most of the time people are dealing with right-handed people, and then suddenly a lefty comes along, it messes you up. So you need some strategies to deal with a left-handed fighter, otherwise you get beaten up by them. So Am's going to be in his stance. He's an orthodox fighter, meaning he's got his left leg forward and his power hand, his right hand is back. I'm a southpaw fighter, meaning my right foot is forward and my left hand is back. So I want to hit him with my left hand, he wants to hit me with his right hand. What he doesn't want to do is let me get my lead foot outside of his lead foot, because as soon as I do, I've moved away from his power hand. Now there's a straight line between my left hand and his head. I can get outside his jab, I can get to his back. So fighting a southpaw is a battle of this lead foot going inside or outside. What Ams always wants to do is keep his left foot outside my right foot, taking away my left hand a little bit and allowing him to throw that straight right down the pipe. So the first thing you need to do is make sure when you're sparring or working with a southpaw is that your left foot is always outside their lead foot, because that also allows you to get air superiority on your jab. So first thing we're going to do, Ams wants to keep his lead hand higher than my lead hand, because that allows him to punch over the top of my jab and get in towards my head. Still with his foot to the outside, so as I'm trying to jab him, he's coming over the top, double it up, and staying over the top of that arm, forcing me back, making me lean backwards. If his hand is lower than my hand, then I get to punch over the top of his hand, which will allow me to open up certain strikes. So first things first, get your foot to the outside of your partner's lead foot. Second thing, air superiority. Make sure your jab hand is higher than their jab hand, so when they try and get you on the chin, you can punch over the top of their arm and hit them. You double it up, which will allow you to set up your right hand as they lean backwards. Boom. And again. So I just kind of throw a few jabs. Ams does 3 jabs over my jab. 1, 2, 3, and then we can throw the cross as he's circling towards my back away from my power hand. And again, 1, 2, 3, cross. If you're really good, you can sliding cut or sliding leverage across this arm. I'll show you on Ams. So if Ams jabs me, this is a technique from Wing Chun and JKD where I deflect his punch, but without having to move my head. So punch me in the chin. I use my forearm to slide up his wrist into his forearm, cut his arm off position and punch him in the face. So I'm going towards his head, he's going towards my head. Hit me in the head. Hit me in the head. Don't be shy. Hit me in the head. And again. And I can deflect his punch as I punch him. It's a very advanced skill, but it's useful in this position where I've got air superiority to come over the top of his arm and then punch. That's called a sliding cut. Don't worry about that for the moment. It's enough to get your jab over their jab and smack them in the face. But if you're good, you can slide up their arm, deflect them, and then throw the cross afterwards. Your second option is to slide out and right cross. So he's got his foot outside of mine. I'm stepping into jab. He moves his head towards his left and then punches. Sorry, just the right cross. Slips outside and boom, lands that. That's a finisher. So I'm not aware of his footwork. I'm just lunging in with this jab, and that allows him to slip outside with that cross, usually followed with a hook over the top. Boom. Okay? So that's a straight right hand to the outside of my jab, followed by a left hook. That's a nice little combination. If you're quite sharp, you can slip again, keeping your right hand high and left uppercut. So keep that hand up, slip, and then left uppercut, being underneath. So he moves his head out of the way, slips, uppercut, that'll throw the cross afterwards. So he's got to be really switched on for this, he's got to have good head movement, good timing, but basically he sees the punch coming, slips his head off towards his left, throws a left uppercut, and then a right cross over the top. So let's quickly have a look at some of these options again. First things first is, if our feet are on the same line, we're kind of equal. So what Ams wants to do is take his foot to the outside of me, which gives him a straight line for his cross. And if he keeps his left hand nice and high, allows him to get over the top of my jab all the time and smother my punches. He can also just slide out and cross, as a quick counter attack to my jab. He can slide out and left uppercut. Try and really right uppercut. Slip, left uppercut, and that'll allow him to come back into them. His last option, the problem with always moving this way is you're always playing this game of footwork with your partner. So if you watch southpaw versus orthodox in sparring or fighting, this will be happening. We'll be working and we're trying to get our foot to the outside of our partner's foot all the time. So sometimes it is possible, although slightly more risky, to move this way and use the cross. So, for example, if I go, and he's going to stay a little bit further away from me, and he's going to make me reach with my left hand. He's going to step his right foot out to counter that and then come back over the top with a cross and a hook. So he's not doing this here because he won't be able to get out in time. He's kind of far away, maybe he's throwing his jab over the top of my jab again, making me reach. As I start to reach with that cross, I fall into his cross and hook. So he's cutting an angle towards his right. So he's going to go with a couple of jabs over the top of my jab, and then I throw the cross, he slides out, cross hook. That's an option if you're going that way. So, one more time. Don't have your feet parallel, always have your foot to the outside. Get air superiority with your jab and get it going over the top of your arm. You can slide and cut if you know how to slide and cut. Slide and cut, you need your thumb upward as you punch, because it allows you to deflect. You can step outside and cross, and then usually pivot up your back foot and hook. So swing, yeah, because that will give you a more dominant angle. You can slip outside and left uppercut, and then get to the head. Or if you've got good distancing, you can step towards your right, slide out, and cross up. Those are some nice, basic, simple options to do against a southpaw boxer.